Welcome back, Cole Radiance and Cortal Enjoyers. I'm Left Bauer, and I wanted to do a replay analysis of a game that I was fortunate enough to play a couple weeks ago on the current game patch. One thing I wanted to really do with this replay is just kind of show the value of, and this is a recording. I'm not playing the game live, so we just kind of get to review stuff as I'm doing it. But I wanted to talk about a couple of things that are really important in the Sins games that I don't know how much some of the people are doing in multiplayer. So I personally don't get a lot of time to do PvP games, and it's not from lack of interest. It's just outside responsibilities are a little bit too heavy for me at the moment, and so I don't even usually get more than the time to record this video or do just like a little bit of prep or video editing to do these every once in a while. So I'm fortunate that I have the ability to do them at all, but also don't really have that much time to do PvP. Would love to do it more, but like I said, just can't. So like I said, this is a 2v2 game on a random map that I was playing, and just kind of wanted to talk about some of the decisions that I made as I was playing it. So in the lobby, I knew, and I apologize to Access and Harold because unfortunately they're on the losing end, but they played awesome. They're both better than me, and I just, like I said, I don't get to play much, so I don't have enough of a reputation. And I did a couple of things right in this game, and just wanted to talk about what I think went right when I did it. So I knew in the lobby that it was a full mirror match where my teammate was a Tech Primacy, I was a Vasari Alliance on a random four-player map, and so knowing that I am up against both either a Tech or a Vasari, which is going to be over on this side of the map here. I don't know who it is yet because I still don't have vision of them. There's the first time I get vision. So the first time we get vision is Tech is on this side, which means I know before I've even finished colonizing my second planet, and I was going pretty slow, that my side has to have the other Vasari player. Now, in a Vasari versus Vasari matchup, you still want to get your capital ships out, which that's what I was doing. I was not doing the hard rush where you can delete a skirmisher. I kind of just felt like keeping it for a while and using it to destroy stuff while I was colonizing. But the fast way to do it is to get down to 2 skirmishers. Then you have exactly 120 fleet supply. You can rush out this desolator and have this desolator going out and colonizing with your fleet. I went the other way, decided to go captive suppliers, which actually slowed me down a little bit, but I was playing a little bit greedy on this play. So now that I know that this has to be a Vasari player on this side, and Vasari matchups are a little weird. You kind of know that you have to go Defensor if you're going to both be in Tier 1 when you start fighting, because the Defensor beats the Raider, and it beats, well, it takes forever to kill the Overseer, but it does beat the Overseer, and it beats the Skirmisher. So it kind of just wins everything in Tier 1. And then even in Tier 2, it beats Canrack because it shoots down all the missiles. We're going to skip over Siege and the support, but Warden does beat Defensors, but they're a reactionary unit, in my opinion, and not a proactive unit. Wardens are there to protect capital ships if, for some reason, you lose the Defensor swarm fight, but ideally you do build as many Defensors as your opponent, and the harsh reality of it is that if you're even down just like a couple of count on the supply side on Defensors, the person with more Defensors snowballs exceedingly hard and just wins the fight off of that. So one of the things that I felt like I did decently well in this game was the way that I scouted. So looks like I've already lost one navigator. I did leave it on random for quite a while, and then I know that I'll build probably two, and I knew that he had sent a fleet here. Oh, that's just a comment that I'm bidding to win the Endurium. I don't know if either of the other players. No, it looks like I'm just bidding to get the Endurium. I do know that I win it, so I have 5 Endurium, and I toss 2 or 3 of them at my teammate so he can get a coal out quicker. But what I'll end up doing is I'll be throwing a scout here because this is a decent choke point, and then I think that Anton leaves a scout here. Yeah, Anton leaves a scout in the sun. And then I throw another one here so that the two of us have kind of a line where we know where we have vision to see everything. So like I said, once I get, so I'm starting to get defensors, and I'm putting my first nano assembly down because I don't have any vision past this point here, and I was a little worried that I was being rushed, that the enemy was going to be here, I was going to be here. So I really wanted this nano assembly to come down so that I could get some scouts out, because I already lost one scout to the pirate base, and he was already 2 jumps away. So my whole fleet is on its way here. I believe I'm saving up a little bit to get my next cap, just to get my Marauder out and get the leveling going. But grab my first 5 planets, going for this volcanic, and then gonna start looking for everybody else on the map. But trying to spend my money, trying not to get too high on my stuff here. Research, I did queue up way too many researches here. The ideal way to do this is to pull these resources out and wait until this one's done, then you can have a second one ready to go. But these are lost opportunity costs that I could have used on other things like leveling up my planets, putting logistics down, things that I could have done a lot better to do this faster. Now, I have been, for those of you that have been following the tournament that Aqua has been posting videos of every day, at 13 minutes, I would have been about 4 planets behind some of those guys because those guys have been crushing it. If you want to see some really good play from some really good players, check out Aqua995's YouTube channel, and then you can keep up with the tournament and how those guys are playing. All right, where are the scouts? I know I built them. I know I built the scouts. Where'd they go? Alright, so then here I do have vision of this fleet. I know that there's an evacuator, and I know that there are 2 javelises. So let's see if I'm smart enough to move the fleet, or move the scouts where they need to be. So I did know that there was this crystal planet here. I do want to go and research. I do have this research pulled up so I can grab this crystal planet. Crystalline planets are really strong for Vasari if you can find one early enough. I just want to look at tech because I think tech doesn't get them till tier 3. Is it over here? Yeah, this is a tier 3 planet research for tech, whereas for Vasari this is a tier 1 all the way down here. I don't know if it's going to stay that way in the upcoming patch, but like I said, I wanted to get this colonized as quick as I could. Use the boarding crew on the Harka. Harkas are arguably the most dangerous thing in the early game for you to deal with because they automatically target light frigates for every faction, and they do a lot of damage, and you can't kill them quickly. Alright, now I do have the scout out. So I have the scout out here. I have this scout here. This is my line to know if a fleet is coming, and I don't even know where he is right now. It's been a while. I know he's got a fleet, but I don't know what's there. And I've seen the evacuator already here. This is me moving the scout forward, checking out to see if he's on this primordial planet. So I would say that the number one thing that players need to do more of in this game is scout. I'm not good at it myself. I did try to do it, but I don't do it enough, and I don't have the muscle memory or the actions per minute to do it in a way that I think is efficient. Plus, with Vasari scouts, you can't even drop them into a fleet, so you just have to continuously watch the mini map to see what you're gonna do. So Vasari scouts, because they do have pulse guns on them, unless you put engage anywhere off, they will literally just go into a gravity well and start shooting at stuff. So I do see the fleet here. I don't remember if I lose this scout or not, but I do see that he's up to 14 defensors. So I have my defensors queued up, and I have just the one nano assembly factory. I think I put 2 more down on this volcanic in just a moment, and I just start pumping out everything I can. Really spent a lot of money here on this crystalline planet, and I really need to hold this if I want to get back my investment. So with any FPS game, like I said, knowing your enemy fleet composition is what decides games, or knowing at least what they're capable of will decide games for you. So looks like I did scout through, and I have this one here. Again, doing the same thing. You have to turn scouts into not fighting anywhere, or they'll come and start shooting stuff. At least for Vasari. So almost done clearing this. I believe I used the Desolator on, yeah, I used the Desolator to capture the Derelict, just to get it some further levels. I don't have the Marauder queued up yet, or did I not do it? Yeah, I didn't do it. So I'm 2 capital ships right now. I believe in a second, because I get this Derelict. No, I go Scarantra, not Marauder. So what I have seen their fleet. I'm manually sending the scout back in to see what's here. I see that he is coming back, so I did a shift click. So I went from here, right click, and then right click back. And then I don't know if I sent it anywhere else. I did. So I was under the assumption that he was going to come and try and get this Derelict here, because it is a level 3 Derelict. There's a lot of Tauronite and Kalinite there that I just didn't want to lose. And this, did I queue it up? Yeah, there's a Scarantra. But I'm continuing to pump out defensors just to get this fleet supply up, because if you look at what Access is at, he's ahead of me here on fleet supply, and I went kind of greedy by going into tier 2 on resources. I did both of the extractors. I did the resource sublimation and crystal nanites. Had to get the volcanic for the 1 planet, added the influence, and then got the intercultural exchange, leveled up to the next tier, and getting culture down. So culture's going down, I believe, here. Did I do it yet? I haven't. See, this is the reason that you watch your replays, is because then you analyze what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And I can see, just watching my own replay, all of the things that I'm doing wrong here. There's a lot of things going wrong. I'm floating a lot of credits. I'm floating way too much metal. Even with ships queued up, I do have the 600 fleet supply going. I've got 7 defensors queued up, and I've only got 3 production factories. So basically I'm making more money than I can spend on research, and that I can build out of my factories at this point. So not a good look. Could do a lot better. And I just need to continue to build out my fleet. So I am up to 33 defensors at this point. And what do we have here? We've got looks like a stalemate here between Harl and Anton. So on this side, there's not really a fight going on. And then if I look at my vision, I'm going to pause it. I know that these are all probably taken. I know that this planet is taken. We haven't seen this planet as a team yet in a while. So there is an assumption that this was probably taken. We just don't know when. And we're going to learn, I guess, later that this isn't owned by anyone, nor is this a radiated planet, because this is a tier... actually, I got to look at this for tech. Yeah, irradiated, and where's Ocean? There's Ocean. So those are both tier 2 planets for tech, and there's a chance that he just didn't have them. As you can see, he didn't really have the money to tech it up, and has been doing a nice job of spending his money. I am not spending enough money here. I could have gotten maybe another capital ship out. I could have maybe, because this is worth about 1,000 crystal. No, worth more than that because we've got the low demand. I could have possibly built a capital ship, and with this, let's see, what would I have been able to get? Actually, I wouldn't have been able to get anything with this, but I could have been tearing up on another research. Looks like I've done a decent job of not over researching here, which is good to see. I did research the culture, but I was stupid and didn't put it down. It's not on it anywhere. So if it's not being used right away, what's the point of me researching it if I don't have it placed? If I'm going to research it, if I don't immediately need fleet, then I should be throwing it somewhere where it can be useful. Alright, so 309 in supply there. Did I lose my scout again? No, where's my scout? Scout's here. I was worried that he had maybe taken this planet. Looks like I'm sending it to this wormhole to try and see where he's at. This is a random map, and I think that because it is a random map, it ended up kind of actually hurting the opponents here. I'm going to pause it again. So, like I said, this is a tier 1 planet for Vasari. This is a tier 1 planet for Vasari. On this side of the map, we have a tier 2, a tier 2, and yeah, they just have 2 tier 2s here that they would have had to deal with, where on our side of the map, we didn't have to go up to tier 2 for planets like they would have had to. So I think our opponents got unlucky there. And then this pirate base being right next to this ocean was also going to be a detriment for whoever's got it. But as you can see here, there are no scouts left for either of our opponents. And Anton, does he have any left out? So yeah, I'm the only one with an active scout currently on the map. And I'll be completely honest, these 3 were not going to cut it. I do have 1 here. Where's my other 2? I just built 2 manually right out of here, trying to get some more information. And it's my opinion, I'm going to let it run while I do this, that for 40 metal, you need to, as Vasari, we need to play them more. Alright, I built got a bunch of exotics all built up. Still don't have the culture down. Do better, Bauer. But I do have a lot of intercultural exchanges down. I've got 8 credits, 18 metal, 15 crystal. So the income is there. It's just not poor, or it's kind of poor on how I was using my my resources. Still floating way too much credit, still floating too much metal, even though I've got defensors queued up. I should be spending these on something else. There's the logistics slot. I think. Nope, I was going military. I wasn't even going culture. I still have it. I just didn't do it. And then this is where I started to get worried because I hadn't seen this fleet in a while in 7 minutes, and if this Vasari player, its access was doing what I was doing, did I just see? I think I did just see that he was there. Saw him warp away. Now, I do think, is this what I think I may have done an overseer with mobile phase detection, because it was at this point, this was the point where I decided, hey, I'm going to go into this planet right here, or I'm sorry, into this gravity well, and what did I do? Oh, I got the kinetic intensifier. I didn't want to use it if my team, or if this game didn't want to be used. So I saw it was empty. I moved over here, and what did I do? Did I send the scout? But I knew his fleet had just jumped to this planet here, but I didn't have full vision on what he had done. So I think, yeah, here's his fleet going over there. I think that I decided to go in. What did I do? Yeah. So I go into this planet here with the assumption that he's possibly here to fight. And I knew that I could just run away if I needed to, but I had been building defensors consistently for a while now. So I just wanted to see if I was at the point where I could fight. Like I said, defensors snowball really hard off of each other. So you just kind of have to know that you have the right count. And so he's sending fleets over here. I get my fleet in here to then clear out this planet. There's been a decent amount of money spent on this planet. The Sever Genetics Lab is an expensive building, and I believe it costs, I know it costs an exotic. I just don't remember how much it costs. The mining was money, the logistics was money, the nano assembly factory, the Empire Lab, all of these turrets. I was doing everything I could to take down these turrets before they were going to be a trouble for my fleet. But I do start bombing, and my teammate's sitting over here with almost 600 supply. I'm almost up to 600, and I'm still looking at this in awe that I did such a poor job of spending my money. Literally, when I've got this much money, I don't have any production going. That's another thing that I could have done a lot better, and would like to see myself improve on while I get more fleet supply. I was going to go with the transporter. I'm going to pause it. In tier 2, I was going to go transporter and try to do bombers just because I was curious how it was going to go. However, I do think that I correct myself before the research gets going, and I switch to the oppressor instead. So like I was talking about, defensors beat raiders. They beat overseers because overseers don't do damage. They beat canracks, and they lose to warden. However, they also kind of start to lose in tier 3. And if you ever get into a straight up fight where it's oppressor versus transporter, the oppressors are going to win because they have built-in point defense on them. And the bombers, while they actually pretty much do pierce the oppressors, their DPS just isn't high enough to deal with the oppressors. So oppressors beat everything in front of it, and transporters really only can kite oppressors, and the fighters kind of beat the defensors, but you kind of also have to rely on the point defense on the transporter. So I was just really curious to see what this would look like. Yeah, I was supply blocked. I was curious to see how this would play into defensors, so I think I started doing it from here. So I did take the planet. I didn't have the primordial research done. That was another mistake. Absolutely make sure that you have the right researches to steal a planet. And this is where my opponent, piecewise, sends his defensors in. So I'm able to pick these off for free. He tries to run them away a little bit. And I just have so many more, even if he had brought them here. So I know that I'm going to win this defensor fight quite handily, and I'm just going to let them win the fight. Now my capital ships, he's got 4 to my 3. Although I'm slightly higher leveled on the Desolator, he's higher leveled on the Evacuator, and I have 1 extra level here on the Scarantra. The Scarantra is going to take some focus fire here. I don't think I let it die. I hope I don't let it die. Yeah, there's the move. I move before I get into hull because I know that I have basically won the fight here for these for the defensors, and I send them at the Scarantra, which has been getting nuked by my ships. My Scarantra ran away enough that I'm not worried about it, and I have 1 point in everything. Had I done this perfectly, I would have ignored Elite Strikecraft, just because there's nothing really for it to do there. And knowing that I just killed all of those defensors, was I smart enough to go in, or was I going to kill stuff off? Yeah, it looks like I decided to kill stuff off. That was a poor move on my choice. I have vision of what he has on this planet because I just had a scout and I'm having another scout luckily going in. I should have pushed my advantage here. So this is 250 fleet supply to my 500 fleet supply, and I should not have turned around to fight these buildings. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is just in general in FPS games, and look at this floating resources again, is having that killer instinct to push when you have an advantage. I very clearly didn't do a very good job of pushing my advantage. Oh, and then I see he leaves to go try to deal with the pirates on this ocean. He doesn't have any buildings up. So I saw him leave, and that's when I knew it was time for me to just go in to this planet. My teammates over here also winning. So it was kind of a two-front loss, unfortunately, for my opponents. And part of that, I'm going to attribute part of that to scouting, because this was not a good game from me here. And I have all my ships in here. I'm just going to try and kill this Gauss platform off before it can shoot my capitals. But I also know that there's no threat at this planet for me, because this few defensors isn't going to harm my capital ships. There's nothing here left to hurt me. So I'm going to let my defensors kill this here. Then I'm just going to send them at the other defensors. And even though I'm floating resources, oh, I do decide to go transporters. I have too much queued up in research here. I should have had a economic one also going. I've got credits I could have spent. I have portals I could have built. This was a, I'm going to say, a poor game on my own part. And those are the kinds of things that we as Sins players should look at, I think, as far as our play, see what we can improve on. So, long story short, long game short, most important thing in my opinion, have a little bit of a general build order. Now, it does not have to be a set in stone, here's what I'm going to follow every game for the first 15 minutes of my game. It should be something like, here's what I'm going to do while I'm still blind to my opponent. I don't know where they are. I don't know what they're building. Here's the very basic economy and possibly military techs that I want to have researched when it's first contact. And like I said, because this is a random map, I'm gonna back up. We didn't know the shape of this map when the map started, and my vision when the map started was this. I knew the enemy was roughly there. Am I right? Yep, it was roughly there. But I didn't know how many jumps separated us here in the middle. So if I look at this now, it's 2 asteroids, a 3rd asteroid, a tunnel, and then 1. So it's a total of 5 jumps from homeworld to homeworld, and there's only 1 planet in the way here that they would even need to stop at, and it's an asteroid, so you literally just kill 3 frigates and you're through. So I very easily could have been rushed by my opponent with 3 capital ships, and I did a poor job of scouting. So that said, have a general build order at least until you know where your enemy is, because this 5 jump was not something that I could have foreseen. If you're playing a preset map, like one of the ones in the launcher, Shuriken, Transstaff seems to be a favorite for a lot of people. Each of those maps, I think, should have their own preset builds. I am a long-time watcher of like StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3, where those pro players spend like hours thinking about just one specific map and one specific build. And each map, if you know what it is, should have a tailored build if you know how close the enemy spawns to you and what economy you think you can get away with. So if you're going into a map, look at the map on that screen we've got now, because now we have the mini map available when we start the game, or before we start the game. Look at it and decide how far into military or how far into empire you think you can take your build before you realize, hey, I've gone far enough. The second thing is scout. I already talked about the pre-build. There are certain things you can do without having any knowledge of where your enemy is or what your enemy is. And that would be, you should know, like, hey, I know that, let's say for my game, I have my evacuator. I decided to go Empire and then Warfare, and didn't do a very good job of building my capital ship fleet. One of the things I have seen in this tournament while casting is the Vasari players, at least on this current patch, and I know it's going to change on the next one, have been quick rushing the fleet beacon and getting a desolator out exceedingly fast. So it goes evacuator, then desolator, then marauder, and I haven't seen much of any variation to that build, at least from the teams that continue to win. And Vasari needs to take advantage of the exotics that we have here. So I'm going to go out and say that straight up, this build order that I did at the beginning of this game, if I'm looking to put out the very best, highest tier build that I can, was not optimal. I greeted pretty hard. I made some poor decisions on my opening build, but having an opening build until you see where your opponent is a very, very good idea. Third thing that I saw myself not doing is I was not spending down the resources that I had, and I was sitting on way too much credit. Was low on crystal, but could have spent those credits to get that crystal, and I was not doing a very good job of spending. when you're spending, the thing about RTS games, just kind of in general, is you do as much economy stuff as you think you can get away with while not losing anything. So what most of us do, we colonize a planet. The first thing we come in and do is we get the planet, we go and throw a whole bunch of money into the mining track. Come on, Bauer, spend your money on mining. I was probably looking at these frigates fighting and not spending enough time on money. There's the mining. So I was late getting the mining in. There's no excuse for that. Is we spend everything we can into money. This money here, I just talked about it, is money you shouldn't spend when you don't need to. I have nothing else to spend it on right now, so this is why I did this. Is I do know enough to know my build order is that I literally have to wait for this to build, to then build 2 slow techs. I have to wait for the warfare building to build before I can spend any money there, and I need the fleet beacon to go up before I can spend any money on a capital ship. So that's kind of my third point, is spend your money and also make sure that stuff is being spent anywhere you can. Have 1, maybe 2 researches on Empire, have 1, maybe 2 researches on Warfare, have 1, maybe 2 level ups going on the planets that you're buying. I don't even know if yeah, I do grab that right away. So I grabbed the early mining on an asteroid. The good players in this tournament are leaving stuff on asteroids until much later. The homeworld's actually like one of the few planets that they're consistently upgrading for Vasari. Otherwise, they're kind of just capturing stuff and then leaving it at tier 1 mining for a while population is building up. And almost ironically, I didn't follow my own rules by scouting here. I knew this capital ship was here. I have vision of this. I don't know what I was looking at the time. Probably trying to micro here, thinking, oh, there's no way that my opponent is 1 jump away from me. Or, I'm sorry, 2 or 3 jumps away from me. And honestly, if my opponent had jumped right here to this ice asteroid, they would have had a planet literally right outside my 5 planets here. So it was a poor set of my attention spent microing on a planet I didn't need to micro on. Fourth, I think that the vast majority of Sin's games are won with macro more so than micro, especially at the level that I play at. Having micro versus macro, I think many of you know what the differences are. Macro being you spent money on the right things, you have the right buildings at those places when you have the money to do so, and you have an income that can support building the fleet that you want to build. And at least in this game, your fleet is on the planet it needs to be on when it's time to get into a fight. The micro stuff, which is something I clearly was not doing well in this game, is like, oh, I phase missile swarmed the exact right ship right as phase out ended on a capital ship. Therefore, I was able to land phase missile swarm on that specific ship. Like, that's not the kind of stuff that most of the players here do. In casting all of my tournament games, there's only 1 player that I watch, or I'm sorry, 2 players that I watched doing exceedingly well with micro, and I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but those 2 players played exceedingly well in all of the games that they've played. If you want to look at really good micro, check out the cast that I just did for Aqua's channel that'll hopefully be posted within the next 24 hours on his channel, between Team Fleet Command and Team Dad FPS and the Dial-Up Kid. One of those teams had really, really good micro in a fight, and in the cast I highlighted it. So that would be probably the ideal one. That's the kind of play that some of us want to try to do, and APM, everybody thinks APM matters in an RTS game. This is one of the games where APM can help you once you're really good. And I've seen one tech player that frequently streams on the Discord who's also very good at micro. And I've seen, like I said, the 2 players in that tournament that are both exceedingly good at micro. But that's a top level thing. Macro is getting everything right with your planets, like I said, getting your fleet in the right spot, having the right fleet composition when you get to a fight, and getting all those little decisions on managing your strategy, your empire correct. And then the last but not least thing is to remember that we're supposed to be having fun with this, and everybody, I'm guilty of this too. RTS games as a whole are difficult for people to get into, and that's, in my opinion, simply because strategy games kind of bear your being out to the other person, because it's personal. Your strategy versus their strategy, your decisions versus their decisions, and if or when you make the wrong choices, it feels a lot more personal because the other person was just smarter than you, made better choices than you, and you feel like they just did a really nice job where you didn't. So that, and games can be long, and so I think that this genre, that's kind of why I think there's less people playing it. So we need to remember that games are supposed to be fun, and yeah, you're gonna get sweats and tryhards in any game that you play, but try to remember that this is supposed to be a good thing for all of us to continue playing. So try to have fun, try not to take it too seriously, and one thing I need to take myself is that I know that if there was a ranking system, I'd be maybe high silver or low gold. I would not be anywhere near the top. I don't have as much time as some of the players do to get good at this game. I don't have the bandwidth to play at that level because I'm older. So it's just one of those things I'm not good at anymore. So hopefully this video has been instructional. Hopefully you guys still enjoy it. I'm still bewildered that there's so many of you guys subscribed to this channel. So I'm going to try and do a little bit better with continuing to post videos. And I know that the test server is getting some patches in the next couple days, and we're going to hopefully see a little bit more about what the patch will look like. I think it's supposed to be early in December, and then it's not going to get touched again until February. So once that's a little bit more locked in, maybe I'll ask the developers if they'll give me like a advanced copy of the stuff that makes it in, and I'll have a video ready to go on patch notes. We'll see. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. So that's the video. Thanks everyone for staying tuned in, and catch you next time.